my name is Blanca Camilla. I'm the host of Elevator and the founder of Max Mind Self-Development. I'm also your elevator operator and most importantly, the biggest advocate for your success. Today, I am going to be taking you up to level 3 and teaching you all about resentment and how resentment hinders your success. In order to step out of the elevator doors at level 3, I'm going to need you to understand 3 things. The first being what resentment is. The second, how resentment is created. And the third, exactly how to clear resentment using a quick tool to unblock your success, which I'm about to teach you, so don't worry. At the end of this episode, you're going to know all those things and you are going to be a floor closer to the penthouse. As always, as per usual, as per tradition, I am going to run you through my personal definition today because the episode is all about resentment, my definition of resentment to make sure that we have a shared understanding. Resentment is a negative emotion that arises from feeling wronged or treated unfairly. It involves anger, bitterness, or frustration, often from unresolved hurt or injustice. When built up, resentment can block emotional well-being and hinder success. In certain cases, resentment can be imagined due to imaginations of wrongdoing, injustice from other people, meaning that you imagine somebody doing something wrong to you or something bad to you when they didn't actually do anything, and now you have built up resentment towards that person. Now, like I've just mentioned, resentment is a feeling of anger, bitterness, feeling annoyed at a certain person because you feel that they have treated you unfairly. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't, maybe you've imagined it, maybe it was extremely real and has messed up a part of your life. And it's okay to feel angry at someone, it's okay to feel bitter towards someone, it's okay to be annoyed at people. The real danger comes from holding on to this resentment and having it build up inside of you. Now, the reason that this is bad for you, and some people might argue, they'll be like, no, Blanca, well, I think this person, they did this to me, they did this to me, and they did this to me. These things were bad. I'm never going to forgive them. I feel annoyed. They've messed up my life. They've ruined my relationship. They stole money from me, whatever it may be. And you're right. What they could have done, maybe you didn't deserve that, and maybe you don't want to let them back into your life. And I'm not saying let the people back into your life. Clearing resentment does not equal forgiveness and love and come back into my life, because let's be honest, toxic people are everywhere and it's up to you if you let toxic people in or out of your life. They're everywhere. They're going to go and approach everyone. And it's up to you if you let them in your life or not. Maybe you've let them in before. Maybe they've messed something up for you. You don't want to let them in again. Understandable. That's not what I'm asking you to do. Clearing resentment has nothing to do with the other person and nothing to do with the other person's actions. If there is one thing that you take away from this episode, and remember, clearing resentment has nothing to do with the other person and everything to do with yourself. The reason why holding on to resentment is so dangerous and so dangerous towards your success is because it affects you on a much deeper level than you can even begin to comprehend. Now, if you haven't seen our previous episode, Control Panel, I need you to watch that. I need you to watch it because if you don't, nothing in this episode is going to make sense to you, and this information that I'm going to give you will be too advanced and you're going to waste 20 minutes, half an hour of your life, however long this episode is. So I need you to go listen to last week's episode. Now, we know that thought plus intense emotion creates neural pathways. And let's keep in mind, this doesn't have to be conscious thought. This can be unconscious thought or unconscious emotion. So if you're thinking about a person or about an event and you have a feeling of resentment, which is such a bad feeling, such a low energy, ill feeling, what type of neural pathways do you think you're going to create? Let's not forget, because you listened to our last episode, you know that neural pathways control 95% of your behaviors. Resentment is one of the most negative emotions you can have. If this emotion is controlling 95% of your behavior, what is the bet that your behavior is going to be positive? really freaking small, isn't it? If you are full of resentment, whether you know it or not, whether you consciously think about it often or not, your behaviors, your thoughts, your emotions are going to be negative because they are going to be running off the neural pathways that are linked to the resentment. Let me give you the penthouse perspective. Penthouse perspective in Elevator Podcast is when I give you a perspective as a person from the penthouse. Sitting up in the penthouse, top of the building, looking down at your current situation. Or this penthouse perspective can come from yourself. If you were sitting up in the penthouse looking down at your current situation, what would you say about it? What would you think? What advice would you give yourself? The advice that I would give you is to let go. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. Let go. When you let go from a situation, from a person, from something that is causing you pain, making you feel annoyed, making you feel angry, that is when you win. Holding on to this resentment, your future self will be able to tell you this. If you don't believe me now, you're going to learn. But holding on to this resentment is only ever going to affect you. Can you imagine if somebody's like, oh, I really don't like you, and they're saying, yeah, she did this to me and I feel so angry. What the hell are you going to say? Oh, I'm so sad. This is going to affect me. If you don't care about that person, you're going to say, cool, who are you? Bye. Especially if it's made up resentment. If this person's like, yeah, I just had a dream about you doing this, and this, and I'm really angry towards you. You're going to be like, well, you should probably try resolve that. You should probably try work through that. If it's really affecting you, maybe see a therapist, maybe watch some Elevator podcast. But it's not going to affect you the same way that it affects them. So think about it this way. If you have a lot of resentment towards someone cheated on you, someone stole money from you, someone messed up your relationship, messed up your life, whatever it may have been, the negative emotions that you're feeling and have built up such extreme negativity towards that person, it depends on the person, but do you think that their level of guilt is on the same scale as your resentment? Maybe it is. Probably not though. Okay, Blanca, so what's the solution? What do you think I should do? I think that you should write a list on top of your page, and I want you to write this and not type this out, but on top of the page, I want you to write, I forgive. Underneath the person's name and what you forgive them for. I forgive Amy for causing me so much pain. Tony for cheating on me. I forgive Coach Brian for kicking me off the soccer team when I was 11 years old. And the key to this is not just forgiving the people that have done really big things to you or things that were real. Even if you imagined an argument with Danielle, you are still going to write, I forgive Danielle for making me angry in that argument. I forgive my mom for yelling at me 2 years ago to wash the dishes. Anything that has caused you any resentment, any feeling annoyed, and this will take you hours, okay? I'm going to be real with you. This is going to take you such a long time, but the difference and the shift that you are going to feel after this is going to be so worth it. And it's so important. And if you watched our last episode, you will know this. It's so important that you reprogram your subconscious and that you weaken the neural pathways that are controlling your behavior in a negative way or driving you away from your goals. There is so much built up resentment, and if you haven't done this exercise ever, however old you are, you could be 20 years old. If you've never done this exercise, you have built up resentment for 20 years. Hello? And you wonder, why am I not successful? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why am I such an angry person? Why are you an angry person? You're full of resentment. You're full of anger. You're full of sadness. You're full of being annoyed. You're constantly aggravated. Why do you think so? Because you've never flushed it out, and it's not your fault. Nobody's ever taught you, hey, you need to write a list. You need to say that you forgive, and not for their sake. You don't have to tell them, Tony cheated on you 2 days ago. Tony, I forgive you for cheating on me. Oh yeah, baby, can I come back into your life? No, you're not telling Tony anything. You're going to cut him off. Get out, ill. The only reason that you are doing this is for yourself. You need to let go of that resentment. Some people may be easier, some people may be harder. Maybe you don't feel ready. If it's really fresh, maybe you won't be able to for the next few days, weeks, months. But I need you to keep this in mind, and I need you to clear your resentment. And that is going to make the biggest shift in your life. Anyone that's ever made you feel and feel is such an important word in this context because feelings are what we remember. We don't remember too much about what somebody said to us, but the way that what they said made us feel. Not too much about what they did to us, but the way that what they did made us feel. Okay guys, hold on. We are hitting the emergency stop button in this elevator. Now, a common mistake that people usually make when clearing resentment is that they clear only the people that they feel really ready to forgive. But like I mentioned before, let me put a disclaimer in. I don't want you to force forgive anyone who you feel like you're not ready to forgive. Or if something doesn't feel right, if a forgiveness doesn't feel right, don't forgive them, but you need to find a way to get that hate out one way or another. Whether it's through forgiveness, whether it's through wishing them well, whether it's through cutting them off and never, blocking them on all social media and trying your best not to interact with them in person. If you feel that much hate towards someone that it is impossible for you to forgive them, you need to get them out of your life one way or another, because I promise you it's doing you more damage than it's doing to them. Sooner or later, that person is going to forget and they're not going to care. But the resentment that you have built up stays with you forever until you clear it. So I need you to remember that, and I need you to think about it. Is not forgiving this person really worth me being in a constant state of hatred, of being annoyed, of being sad? Is that person worth it, or do you want better for yourself? And can you create better for yourself? Because I 1,000,000% believe that you can. But now it's your turn to take action. And watching this video and listening to me say, oh, I believe that you can clear the resentment, it's not enough. You need to do it, and you need to take action. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you don't start changing things, your life's not going to change. What you're not changing is what you're choosing. If you're not changing to clear the resentment and the hatred, you're choosing the resentment and the hatred. All right, and that brings us to everybody's favorite part of the day, the shot of the day, which I picked up from the lobby cafe. While I sip my shot of the day, I'm giving you a shot of the day. Today's shot of the day, meaning tip of the day, is to go that extra step. You don't have to tell that person, I forgive you, because maybe you don't want to give them the wrong message. Maybe you don't want to speak to them. Maybe you can't speak to them. I'm not telling you to go up to that person and forgive them. I am telling you to write down a list of names of people that you really, really resent, that you have so much hatred towards, that if the purge was real, they would be your first victims, okay? These could be people that you hate, people that you're extremely annoyed at, people that you don't necessarily agree with, people that have wronged you, whatever it may be. Write down their name, write down a good fortune. Tony will get promoted to his dream position. And it might cause you so much pain and hatred and feeling so annoyed writing this, because you're thinking, fuck Tony, I don't want him to get promoted. He's ruined my life. He doesn't deserve anything. That's not the point. This is not going to affect Tony very much. All it's going to do is affect you. But you are going to write, I wish for Tony to get promoted. Tony will get promoted. And then you're going to either wish or pray. In my case, I would pray because I'm religious. If you're not, just wish. I am going to sit here and I'm going to pray that Tony gets promoted. Or you can sit there and say, I wish for Tony to get promoted. Please, Tony, please get promoted. And it's going to be so annoying for you. And I'm thinking about the people that I have had resentment towards in the past. And a few years ago, it would have been really difficult for me to do this. But you need to take that weight off your shoulders, and you need to clear that resentment. And saying you forgive them and writing down that you forgive them is one thing, but the shift that's going to occur in your brain when you wish for something so good for them is going to be on a whole nother level, and it's going to increase your energy and the love inside you by so much. And let's think about this logically. Tony's may or may not get promoted, okay? He might get promoted by coincidence. Maybe your prayer will make him get promoted. Maybe your wish will make him get promoted. Most likely not. Because if Tony has doubts about himself and bad subconscious beliefs about himself, you can't really wish for something to happen to Tony and expect that to actually happen. Tony builds his life on his own, and you build your life on your own. So it's important that you build it with love, with support, with encouragement, and that you have that subconscious foundation of positive emotion. And that is the only way that your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors will reflect that. And if your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are positive and magical and full of love, well, what do you think your life will become? Positive, magical, full of love. And that's your life, not Tony's life, not Danielle's life, not anybody else's life, your life. What you're not changing is what you're choosing. If you're not changing to get rid and clear the hatred, the resentment, that's what you're choosing. The elevator doors are finally open. I want you to step out and enjoy level 3. And don't forget to meet me back here next week so I can give you a ride to level 4. Make sure that you're subscribing if you're liking the content. If you've checked out the videos and you like them, don't forget to subscribe so you can keep seeing it, keep learning, and keep leveling up so that we can reach the penthouse together. Make sure that you're heading over to the podcast to rate Elevator so that it distributes to more beautiful people like yourself, and so we can build a collective society of high self-worth individuals, that you're sharing the podcast with any friends who you want to level up with, because I can do an episode about this, but when you level up, your friends don't usually come along with you. Friends in your family, you tend to break off from them. It might be a good thing, it might be a bad thing, depending on how much you like your friends. But if you want them to come up with you to the penthouse, I suggest that you help them with their self-development, and this podcast is exactly how we're going to do it. And last but not least, please consider heading over to our Instagram so you can vote on next week's episode topic. Again, thank you so much for listening, and go out and enjoy level 3 because you earned it.